Welcome back, students. This is the part 6 of the chapter Human Reproduction. In my previous video, that is part 5, I started discussing the mechanism of fertilization, and I had discussed till the step 5, that is fifth step of the process, and I could not complete due to the vastness of this topic. Okay, so let's get a small recap of what we learned in the previous video. So the first step was the gametes. The male gamete and the female gamete are getting ready for the process of fertilization. Next comes, so also in the first step we get to know about the acrosome, which is found on the head of the sperm, and on the later steps we get to know that the head of the acrosome has some receptors in it which are used or which help to get attached to the ovum. Okay, so the next step was the arrival of the sperm. About 200 to 300 millions of sperms arrive in the female genital tract. The third step was arrival of the secondary oocyte in the fallopian tube after being released from the ovary. Okay, and the fourth step was capacitation. As I said, it is a very important step. Capacitation is the ability that the sperm gets to get attached or to get activated to fertilize the ovum. Okay, this process takes about 5 to 6 hours. The fifth step was the contact of sperm and the ovum, where the sperm, after being activated, goes nearer to the ovum and gets attached to it. Now we will move forward in this video from the sixth step. So let's get started. The next step is penetration. This is again a very important step. Penetration of the ovum by the sperm. So how will it take place? See, this is the ovum, and the ovum is surrounded by many layers. I will draw each of them for you. Okay, so this is the ovum. This is the cytoplasm of the ovum. Right at the middle, this is the cytoplasm of the ovum. Okay, known as the ooplasm. Okay, after that layer, this layer is the perivitelline space. I am writing in abbreviations. This is the perivitelline space. Okay, the next layer right after ooplasm. Ooplasm is the cytoplasm of the ovum. After that, the perivitelline space. Next layer after perivitelline space, this layer is known as zona pellucida, ZP, zona pellucida. Okay, and the last layer, these cells on the outermost part, these are the corona radiata cells. Okay, ooplasm right at the middle, surrounding the ooplasm are the perivitelline space, this small, very small layer. Next, this layer is the zona pellucida. Okay, and then the outermost cells known as the corona radiata cells. I am rubbing this portion so it is easier for me to draw the sperm. Okay, okay, so now the sperm has arrived here with its acrosome and everything. Okay, this is one fit sperm which has managed to attach itself to the ovum. Okay, now this sperm will have to penetrate through each of these layers to reach this ooplasm, where after reaching this, the actual fertilization will take place. So to reach this, the sperm has to go through all these three layers. So it will penetrate each of these three layers. The first layer, corona radiata. What happens? These corona radiata cells has an acid known as hyaluronic acid. I suppose you have heard this name. These corona radiata cells consist of this hyaluronic acid. Okay, and now the acrosome of the sperm is here. The acrosome contains hyaluronidase enzyme. It is an enzyme which is found on the acrosome of the sperm. So hyaluronic acid and hyaluronidase enzyme, they will neutralize each other. the sperm, the acrosome of the sperm comes in contact with the corona radiata cells, and the hyaluronidase of the sperm neutralizes the hyaluronic acid of the corona radiata cells, and here it will be able to penetrate this much, only this much, whichever part it is needed, it will be able to penetrate it. Now the sperm will move forward. Okay, now what does it have to do? Now the sperm has penetrated through the corona radiata cells and has reached the zona pellucida layer. Okay, the zona pellucida layer has some sperm receptors in it known as ZP3. Okay, some sperm receptors known as ZP3 are found in the zona pellucida layer, which will receive the sperm. Okay, and here what does the sperm do? The sperm releases an enzyme known as acrosin and a chemical substance known as sperm lysine. Okay, these two chemical substances and enzymes will be released by the sperm, and they will help to digest through the zona pellucida layer. With the release of sperm lysine and acrosin, okay, these two will be released by the sperm head, and now they will be able to further move to the third layer known as the perivitaline space. Okay, so the sperm has penetrated through two layers. Now it has reached the perivitaline space. Now, as the sperm head lies at the perivitaline space, near the perivitaline space, both the sperm membrane and the vitelline membrane will be united. The membrane on the sperm head and the membrane of this layer, the perivitaline membrane, both will be united, and the sperm head, the whole of it, will enter the ooplasm. Okay, only the sperm head will enter the ooplasm, and the rest of it will remain here, and later on it will be destroyed. Okay, now as this portion reaches the ooplasm, what will happen? Fertilization membrane will be created surrounding the ovum. Okay, for what? What is the function of this fertilization membrane? This is to prevent any other sperm to come and attach itself and try to penetrate the different layers of the different layers surrounding the ovum, to prevent that process, so that no other sperm can try to fertilize it. Okay, so this is the step of penetration where the sperm head penetrates through all the different layers surrounding the ooplasm, that is the cytoplasm of the ovum, and ultimately reaches the ooplasm. Okay, so after penetration, after the sperm has reached the ovum, two more steps are left so that the fertilization process is completed. Next step is formation of male and female pronucleus. So what is pronucleus? Pronucleus is just the previous step of the formation of a total nucleus, and after the formation of a nucleus, a cell will be formed. As you all have studied in previous classes, the steps of division, like binary fission. Okay, so in that manner it will happen. So as the male and female pronucleus, yes. So as the male gamete, that is the head of the sperm, reaches the ooplasm, there the head of the sperm will be converted into a male pronucleus, and the ovum also undergoes certain divisions and forms the female pronucleus. So here the formation of male and female pronucleus takes place. Last step, okay, it is the fusion of these two, male and female pronucleus. Okay, so after the formation of male and female pronucleus, the last step is the fusion of these two pronuclei. Okay, nuclei is the plural form of nucleus. So these two pronuclei will fuse, ultimately causing ultimately bringing an end to the fertilization process, as a result of which a diploid zygote will be formed. And what will happen to the zygote? The zygote will then keep on growing, and before that it will reach the uterus and get implanted there and then keep on growing. So what happens after fertilization, we will discuss that in the next video.